Hey guys, welcome to 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And here's what I need you to do. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel to stay up to date to everything we're doing here on 3 and Out and the Volume. You know what's funny about this business is, I had a great take, I thought, of just the clinic and the partnership that is LaFleur and Rodgers, and the combination is everything you want. This young, dynamic coach, this veteran superstar Hall of Fame quarterback on the same wavelength, playing chess. It was, the game, they scored. It was 30-21. They were going to go for 2 to make it a 10-point game or 11-point game or whatever. I don't even know. It was going to be, the game was over. And I was just like, God, that's football porn. These two guys playing chess. Rodgers forever claimed McCarthy was a meathead, wanted someone on his intellectual level. Then he gets this skinny, good-looking guy who's got this Shanahan McVay background, who's dialing up all these plays, but they still let Rodgers run some of the gun, spread offense, slinging it around, come into the game without his defensive coordinator, without his star wide receiver, without another wide receiver, tight end. Hopefully Tanyan, knock on wood, didn't tear his knee. Just an incredible performance. And then they turn it over on downs. And I go, are the Packers going to lose this game? But even then, they're backed up at the 1. I'm like, no way. Boom, boom, 2 passes at the 50-yard line. Kyler's driving them down the field. And I'm thinking, and I was going to come to the defense of Arizona. I was like, listen, they're 7-0. They could go 3-7 the rest of the season, and they would be 10-7 and probably still in the playoffs. And more than likely, they're not going to go 3-7. So even if they went 4-6, they're an 11-6 team, and that at minimum is a wild card. Like, that's a playoff team. I got to, listen, you lose to Aaron Rodgers, not the worst loss, but, my takeaway with Arizona is, and this is the reason San Francisco and LA have always kind of shoved them around, if you hit them directly in the teeth. When someone is soft at football, a football team, and their identity and their ethos, what you do is you look them right in the mouth and you fucking slug them right in the teeth. And that's what the Niners did forever with the Green Bay Packers when McCarthy was there with Harbaugh, and they owned them in the playoffs. 2 years ago, the Niners shoved it down their throat. Arizona, the Packers were shoving it down their throat. Then they get to the goal line, and he throws it a couple times, and then I'm thinking Kyler's going to lead him on the win. And, the last play, Kyler's a pretty remarkable player. And Aaron Rodgers, ultimately, it doesn't change my take of the LaFleur and Rodgers partnership. It is pretty special. Are you going to call the right play every time? No. Are you going to outthink the room sometime? Yes. Should you be in 3rd and 4th down in gun run situations? And this is where I think, the balance is with Aaron. I think Aaron loves the shotgun. Obviously, LaFleur, his background is under center, slamming the ball. And listen, they do a good job. They did a good job all night long. They had no business winning this game. With no Devontae, no defensive coordinator, at a huge, huge disadvantage. So I give the Packers, from a culture win, a ton of credit. Just to come in with the mindset they had to lead the entire game. We ain't losing this bad boy. Short week, on the road, touchdown plus underdog. That's an impressive win. Now, I'm sorry, I've been 37 years old. I've been watching professional football now for 30 years. In my memory, for 25 strong. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best players I've ever seen. When I was a kid, some older people, I tweeted this, grandparents would talk to you about watching Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle or Bill Russell, and you couldn't really relate. You're like, yeah, I understand, but it's I never watched them. There's no YouTube. Were they really that good? You check their baseball reference pages or basketball. It was clear they were all-time greats. But when you watch someone's greatness, it's hard to ever tell someone who watched Michael Jordan start to finish that he's not the best basketball player they've ever seen. It's hard to tell someone that watched Jack Nicklaus in the 60s and 70s play golf that he's not the best golfer, right? It's hard for someone to say that watched Joe Montana play before Tom Brady. Joe Montana was the best quarterback they've ever seen. I will always say, there's 3 of them, Brady, Rodgers, and Manning. That's as good as it gets. And they're all different, and Rodgers is clearly the most different of the 3. He is fucking remarkable. An absolute, it's perfection at quarterback. It really is. And clearly what's cool now is even with the long hair, he looks kind of old. But there has, someone one of my social medias tonight, someone was like, Aaron Rodgers is one of the 2 best players to ever throw the football, and he ain't second. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could argue that. Now, I never saw Marino or Elway in their prime. I've watched YouTubes. They both can sling it. But Aaron is football throwing perfection. And when you give him 2 running backs, and they're 2 running backs, if Chubb and Hunt, to me, that would be the number 1 running back duo in the league. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are not far behind. A little thunder and lightning, and Aaron Jones is not really just lightning because he can run hard. He will run downhill. That is, you get those 2 running backs, it is amazing for great quarterbacks what a running game will do for them. In McCarthy's career, they never really ran the ball. They always threw it, and it brought the soft nature, right? And now you get 2 guys, and still some of their runs out of the gun, not the biggest fan, but again, that's my football bias. I learned football from Pat Hill, pro-style, fullback, running back. Andy Reid, who is a spread-it-out offense, we still always had a fullback, and he ran it, and he would run the ball, run power. So I still have a soft spot for a physical downhill running game. And I think it is a little harder to accomplish. Not that you can't be successful, not that you can't score touchdowns, not that you can't run, break big plays out of the gun runs, but I do like putting my quarterback under center. And the Packers had an opportunity, I felt, at the end of the game to put it out of reach, put him under center. Get A.J. Dillon in there and run it down their throat. And they didn't. And they got by, they got pretty lucky. They got pretty lucky. Now, listen, I'm not going to diminish the Cardinals' accomplishment being 7-0, or now they're 7-1, but they have been fantastic. They have a ton of good players, even though, and listen, I got to kind of take the L on the J.J. Watt. I was like, you're going to give him $22 million guaranteed for a guy that can't stay healthy? And then the first 7 games, he was freaking awesome. He was everywhere. He clearly brought leadership that they desperately needed. And here's the problem. Game 8, rips his entire shoulder out for the season. So it's like, it's a hard one for me. Like, I understand what they did, but then what happened to him? And you can say it's a freak deal, but he always gets injured. Now, they value high football character because, look, they trade for Zach Ertz. What was clear tonight was Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz has played in a ton of big boy games. Played in Philadelphia on several playoff teams, on a Super Bowl team, caught a game winner in the Super Bowl. Used to play in New York, Washington. I mean, it's a vicious division. Not as much now, but when he was younger, right? And the games matter. He's played in a ton of primetime games. And you saw, he's a primetime player. He's a big-time player. Steve Keim's a good GM. My one question with them is, and he is a remarkable talent. He is unlike anything I think we've ever seen, right? I mean, Michael Vick kind of played similar, but Michael was bigger, and Michael was small. Kyler is tiny. You notice the last 2 years, right around now, late October, early November, he starts kind of limping at the end of the games because he is getting throttled by NFL defenders. Even if it's just a couple times during the game, getting slammed on the ground by guys 250, 275, 300 pounds, it takes a wear and tear on a little guy. I've been lucky enough to be on the sideline and be at games and watch Russell Wilson warm up. The guy's built like a tank. I've seen Kyler, up close. He's small. He's built small. So his talent, his throwing ability is high caliber NFL. It's Pro Bowl level. But the body size and the stamina that's needed now for 17 games is just going to be difficult. And you saw tonight, he's limping off the field. He's tough, but can his body hold up? Now, they're going to make the playoffs, right? Obviously, the Packers are winning the division, but Arizona now 7-1. They have 9 games left. If they went 3-6 in those games, they'd be 10-7. And hell, that might get you a wild card. So they're going to cruise to the playoffs. My guess would be they're 11 or 12 wins, but they are kind of soft. And when you hit them directly, right in the chin, right in the teeth, that messes them up a little bit. And historically, it does with softer teams. When you take on a softer football team, a spread football team, you can shove them around a little bit. And to me, ultimately, that's going to be their downfall. Now, tonight was a freak deal. They didn't deserve to win the game, but they had a shot. And there's no deserving in pro sports. You either win or you lose. And the Packers won it. Hat tip to Matt LaFleur. Hat tip to Aaron Rodgers. Just a fantastic performance. Thanks for watching 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And make sure you subscribe right now to the Volumes YouTube channel.